Welcome to Building Fortunes Radio. Make sure you check us out at buildingfortunesradio.com. Along with our marketing partners, we're here to help our PM Marketing Network Leads customers build their businesses and make the world a better place. At Building Fortunes, we know how much your business means to you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingils.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingils here. You're listening to Building Fortunes Radio on www.buildingfortunesradio.com. We get a chance to host this platform, and I run the radio show station, of course. We get a chance to do this. And, David, I hear you pushing buttons, so you're pushing buttons loudly, so you want to stop pushing buttons, or I'll meet you out for a second. I'm going to be David. David's our guest speaker. He's a loud button pusher. So we are here on Building Fortunes Radio, www.buildingfortunesradio.com. We do this specific radio show every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern for your education and entertainment. And I built this platform so we can actually showcase the industry of home-based business as well as a lot of other things. So if you're new to this and you go to buildingfortunesradio.com, you'll hear and see different shows, some from aspiring and successful MLM distributors, some from people that have nothing to do with the industry because we expand as we help people build fortunes to do awareness, like our friend Jim Turner at citizens.org, and we have a Citizens for Health. We have different people that do different things as far as musicians that do different things. We have coaches that do different things. We have business operators and business people that do different things. We have travel agents that do different things. And, of course, we have the MLM stuff. Well, this special segment is many times where I get a chance to draw from the people that help identify some of the challenges associated with this industry. I'll use a specific example. I was working with a customer, potential customer, a little bit earlier, and she is interested in doing one of our radio shows, and her husband doesn't like MLM. Like 100% of them, totally bad in his mind. Never touch it, never do it, never whatever it. And that's a pretty oversweeping, but generally I understand where he's coming from statement. Because if I wasn't involved in this industry and I didn't know the good stuff that sometimes happens, and I was exposed to most of the stuff that I see out there, I too would say exactly what he would be saying. Don't want to have anything to do with it, wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. They're all pyramid scams. They're Ponzi schemes. The people are psychotic, sociopathic, narcissistic, or any or all of the above, all wrapped in all that. I think they're a cult. I mean, I could really lay it on relative to the negative things I would say about home-based businesses or network marketing companies or even things associated with affiliate programs, etc. However, because of my direct sales background and because I was in a network marketing company, I was in a direct sales company that introduced me to network marketing, I learned how to do it the right way. So in my optimistically, although maybe naive way, I still think network marketing can be done the right way, although there's a lot of people that obviously challenge that, and for good reason. So I visited Dr. Charles King at the University of Illinois in Chicago. I've had great conversations with Roger Van Blissingen and E. Robert Smith and even Mr. Robert Fitzpatrick, who are many times a lot of people on the opposing side. And then tonight or today I want to bring in also Dave Ritchie. Dave's got a really great approach or attitude towards a lot of the things that happen in our industry that are somewhat like cult-like and on the negative side. So I asked him to show up anytime he can live on Friday. And I know he's probably pushing some buttons somewhere, probably telling somebody he's going to be on a radio show, but he's here and I'm going to turn his mic on. So this is Dave Ritchie on Building Fortunes Radio working with me, Peter Mingils. So, David, here we go. So I'll let you finish up typing, whoever you type to, and thanks for being on our radio show.
Hi, Peter. As it happens, I have some visual impairments, so I use a mechanical keyboard, and I was just waking up my computer when I hooked up with you, so I apologize for that.
Not
but
at all.
No, there shouldn't be any more typing. If I forget and do that while we're conversing, please feel free to mute me.
You know what?
Anyway,
hold on one second. I'm so glad, not that you're visually impaired, but I'm glad that you introduced that. because there's a lot of people out there, including people like myself. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I have glaucoma, macular degeneration, and my eyesight is going. So there's a pretty good possibility that I will be leaning on you for some of your educational material on how you manage, working with visually with some challenges. Because one of the reasons why I was so interested in the home-based business arena and MLM is it could be a very viable platform for people with all different types of issues, physical disabilities, mental disabilities, all those types of things, to be able to actually be productive and earn a living in a home-based business. And that's why I'm such an evangelist, trying to protect this industry from the really stupid things that happen in the industry, because I really do think it could be a very good, one of the best things that ever happened. So I'm glad that you introduced that portion of the information, and I'll be sensitive to that when we talk, understanding that you might need to be pushing some buttons. So I'll just kind of mute you out and not even worry about it. So thanks for being here, and I'll let you add to anything that I might have said.
Well, the one tip I can give you is that if you have enough visual challenge and want to keep driving, you need about a 100-foot white cane. And I find it's hard to get a 100-foot white cane into my car.
That's true.
Actually,
that is so true.
I'm not that bad off. Actually, I've been doing some research in preparation for a proposed standard for the FTC regarding blinded recruitment. And I was not.
Can I ask for a favor? Can I ask for a favor? I don't think
yes.
most of our customers would know what blinded recruitment is. So when you're weaving your story, weave your story with a definition that a regular person might understand.
Sure. Blinded recruitment is a way to define the practice of denying really important information to a prospect in their exercise of due diligence for serving a local market. Basically, what due diligence requires is knowledge of the maturity of the current market, whether or not it's saturated or not. And two of the best metrics for determining that are the number of competing distributors already in your local market and what their median income is. And I just finished researching with 8 publicly listed direct sales companies, and only one of them was willing to give me even part of the information. It was really quite astonishing, but not entirely surprising. That was the hypothesis that this draft standard that I'm working on is based on. But without that information, you're essentially blinded to what your local market is, how mature it is, and how viable it is. And it may not be applicable when it comes to internet sales, but that brings up another set of issues that are probably too complicated to get into here. At any rate, companies who don't release that information, there are only 2 reasons that I can think of to do it. One is they're oriented on recruitment, or oriented to recruitment rather than retail sales, and the other is that they're just plain frauds. So it was quite an eye opener just doing the research for this piece that I'm working on.
And your thought process is that the reason, if somebody had that information, they would be able to process that information and be able to make a better decision on whether they wanted to join as a distributor or build a business, selling retail products or something like that. That's the basic premise?
Absolutely. And what makes it worse is that companies already maintain a database of that information. And it should be just a simple matter to release that to a prospect through the recruiter. So
right. And there's no secrets there, right? Because of computers and everything else like that. I can share with you only because I was in direct sales before, so I could probably see their reason. I already know. We both already know. It's just somebody's got to say it. The reason why they don't want to tell you is because the numbers are so low. Once they reveal that, then once really people see that there's not a lot of people making money, and only the people up on top are really the ones making the money, and all that sort of stuff. When you take a look at the numbers from that side, it's really easy to form an opinion that maybe this isn't a good opportunity. So now I got to clean up what I just said.
And a well-founded opinion.
I want to clean up what I just said, because, like, for instance, if you had called me, say, for instance, when I was Electrolux, if you were to say to me, Peter, I want to know the average sales reps' commissions, and I want to know how many you've hired, and I want to know their median income, and how many doors are they knocking on, whatever, all that sort of stuff. Part of me would say, you know what, there's so much to that story. Number one is, no, I don't want to give you that information. So I'm just talking to you like if you would approach me as a direct sales manager or even a direct sales owner, if you would approach me today in my own company, I would probably say, you know, I'm not so sure. There's so much to that story, and a lot of it could be manipulated. So if I give you the facts, I think it might put my business in a bad light, and it might shun away some people. And then also I might say, you know, there's a whole story behind this because, you know, we had a whole bunch of people join, and the way they usually do is they usually fall out. It's almost like going to a fitness center and asking them what their numbers are. And you say, well, geez, half of the people that buy membership never show up. There's a lot to the story, so if I give you the numbers but I don't get a chance to tell the whole story, it might be mismanaged from somebody that was looking who doesn't understand those questions and those answers. So I understand some resistance, but I also understand that even sometimes explaining the story away, the number might be so bad that some companies might not want to fully disclose that information. So yours is a simple question, but is somewhat of a complex answer, and I kind of see where some companies would be coming from. But I also understand that a lot of distributors would probably want at least a halfway decent idea of knowing it, because that story is not lined up with the recruiting video they saw. Because the recruiting video saw lifestyle, the rich and famous, and, you know, and having no money problems, and, you know, the perfect family and the perfect everything and the perfect everything, and, you know, white sandy beaches and really foreign expensive cars and lifestyle, the rich and famous. And that is so far from reality for most people's reality. I understand why the nature of the questions. So, okay, so I apologize for jumping in, but I kind of get it, and I kind of understand it. We both know it. I just kind of said it. Okay.
Yeah. You know, here's the problem. There's absolutely no reason to withhold that information that I can see. What I was requesting was information on active distributors, you know, people who are actually trying to sell product. And
right, so that would eliminate all the people that just bought the membership, quote unquote, using my fitness analogy, and never showed up.
Exactly. So, like I said, it was quite an eye-opening experiment, and I'm going to go ahead with this draft standard with some help from an attorney. And also, I'm writing what is turning out to be a two-piece article for publication on the issue.
Nice. Excellent. So go ahead, I guess, share more of your experiences or what your thought process was and why you're doing this.
Well, my own perspective has evolved quite a bit in the 4 years that I've been researching the industry. And what I've come to is a belief that the best way to regulate the industry is to surgically excise the fraudulent aspects of it, and let the company that has that happen survive legally on their own, you know, and either rise or fall organically after that, rather than just stopping all multi-level marketing enterprises. So that was, to me, that one piece was the most pivotal, the one that covers the most recruiting frauds in general, and the easiest to identify of all the fraudulent aspects of pyramid schemes. So, you know, in my view, if that can be excised, that practice can be excised from the business, and let the business survive organically or fall organically, is probably the most reasonable way to handle it.
Right, and from the direct sales manager's standpoint, because again I grew up in the direct sales business, I understand there's always two philosophies. So I'm going to use, and by the way, I'm no angel. I'm not the only person who ever made any money in direct sales or direct sales management, but I have a perspective that most people don't have, so I'm going to share a little bit about that perspective. When I worked with Electrolux, we had two types of managers. We had the type of manager that, in regard to recruiting and building a business, we had the type of manager who was the massive over-promoter, the hypester, the con man, if you will. And I'll just use it flat out like that. He was a con man. And there's lots of them, and I won't mention their names because there's too many to mention. But it was always like, you're going to be rich, you're going to run one of our offices, you're going to make $1 zillion, and they would be hype and hype and hype. And people would say, what if you don't have enough hype? You know, how do you know if you don't have enough hype? Well, you got to add more anyway. And they were all about smoke and mirrors. And gosh forbid, like, anybody would look behind the curtain. There was really nothing there. But because they worked on the triple G's, people that were goofy, people that were greedy, people that were gullible, those are the triple G's, they were able to recruit some people. The smart ones were recruited in spite of that. There might have been some other reason for them to stay. Then there were the guys like me. Now remember, I'm not putting a halo over my head, or I'm not trying to self-promote myself. But I was the guy that said, listen, I'm running ads in the newspaper. I'm trying to recruit people. If I spend time with them and they fall out, there's a law of exclusion. When I'm working with this guy, I can't be working with someone else. I want to live in this neighborhood. I want to be here. I want a nice reputation. Some people might not work out, but I'm going to show them the truth behind what it's like to go to work. So I'm going to promote hard work, determination, understanding rejection, understanding the sales process, really going to work, learning the profession. And the guy who was the over-promoter would say, well, I can't tell people the truth because then they might not join. And I would say, you have to tell them the truth, because when they do join, you have a responsibility to show them how to grow the business. These are your future managers. So it's a totally different recruiting mindset. And what I'm going to do in reference to what your comments are, David, is if people had to recruit the right way, they would not recruit some of the people that they currently do. Because the ones they get using the over-promotion are the goofy, the gullible, and the greedy ones. So what if we eliminated the goofy, the greedy, and the gullible ones? Then we'd have maybe smaller, but we'd have a better business. And that's what your stuff hopefully will do, to eliminate those types of people. So go ahead.
A smaller sales force with a larger market share for each.
Right. And less in the equation.
That's really important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
To me, that is key to making a successful home-based business work.
That's right. We're going to come right back after this little quick break. This is Peter Mingils. We have Dave Ritchie. He's a gentleman who's written different articles, and he's writing more stuff and doing some really cool stuff relative to the industry. So we'll be right back on Building Fortunes Radio. Hold on one second, guys.
Thanks for listening to Building Fortunes Radio. If you sell a product or service, then you should check out PM Marketing's NetworkLeads.com. Just visit www.networkleads.com. For over 18 years, PM Marketing has helped distributors build their home-based businesses through lead generation, website development, automated email delivery systems, and sales training. If you're looking for a way to increase your skills and increase the number of people that see your product or opportunity, NetworkLeads.com can help. To learn more, visit www.networkleads.com. Ask about their lead management system, capture pages, personalized websites, MLM training, humongous blogs, the humongous classified ad network, Building Fortunes Radio, or their webinar schedule. NetworkLeads.com can be your one-stop shop for everything you need. And now, back to our show.
And we are back. This is Peter Mingils and Dave Ritchie. We're on Building Fortunes Radio. We're talking about the stuff that a lot of people just don't like to talk about, but the things that I think we need to discuss to be able to help people succeed in the home-based business arena. I alluded to a little bit earlier the idea that people that are from all walks of life have the opportunity, I think, to be able to work from home and build businesses. People with disabilities, people with other reasons for working home, people that want to take care of sick kids or parents, people that want to have their own destiny, all of those types of things. And they need a fair shot at learning the truth behind what it's really like to build a business. And you know what? Sometimes when people learn the truth, you go back to that old, you can't handle the truth statement that was one of those Tom Cruise movies with Jack Nicklaus. But I believe that if you're going to do a business and you're going to treat it like a business or a career, you really deserve to at least have access to the truth. Now, you're still able to make the goofy decisions on your own, and you're still able to make the greedy decisions on your own, and if you're gullible, but you won't do it without warning, at least if it was up to people like me, and it seems like people like you as well, David. So Thanks for being here, and I know you wanted to say something, so let's continue, please.
Okay. Well, I was just going to ask you to give me a call after the broadcast.
Absolutely.
There it is. All right. I think accurately informed entry into the business is truly the key to the success of both the company and the prospective sales force member.
Right. And going back to some of the examples that I use in my direct sales force, the gentleman, and I'm just picking on one guy in this example, and I'm not going to say his name, but the one guy, actually, he recruited so many people that some of the best people that he recruited kind of saw through his over-promising and over-promotion. And they looked at the company on their own, and they said, good company. And they looked at the compensation plan on their own, and they said, good company. Or maybe they saw other people, maybe like me, and they said, in spite of who I've been introduced to this product through, I think we're going to do it anyway, because if this idiot can make it, I'm going to rule the world, which was basically the way a lot of people are recruited into direct selling. They look at the person who holds the microphone, and they say, if that idiot could make this amount of money, then I should be able to do this like crazy, so do it the right way. And that was more or less the position that a lot of people took, because some of our best managers actually came through that horrible recruiting process, but they saw through it. Now, I have to also tell you, there were a lot of people that lost time, they lost money, he made promises he didn't keep, and the majority of the people that were the people that couldn't look beyond that actually were hurt. And that's the problem. And then they gave the organization and the industry a very bad name. And that's the same exact thing happens in network marketing businesses all the time. Like I started off my conversation of the woman who's trying to do something. She has to buck, if you will, the resistance coming from her husband, because he really understands, you know what, there's a lot of that sort of stuff that really does happen. So, David, tell us more about whatever you want to talk about, or if there's anything else going on in the industry you want to highlight.
No, kind of along the same vein that we've been talking about. I just reviewed one of the leading MLMs, 10K, and happened to notice something that I hadn't noticed before, and that is that the company says that in order to increase sales, they have to do one of two things. They either have to recruit more sales force members, or they have to train the sales force members they have. They've chosen to recruit more sales force members. Well, that raises some really important questions. What is the business really about? Is it about getting product to the maximum number of people for everyone's benefit, or is it about recruiting? And I'm going to take a look at the other 10Ks from publicly held direct sales companies and see if they have similar passages. But that kind of caught my attention.
Right, and basically my background in sales management is there's several things you want to do. You want to increase, of course, the number of salespeople you have, and then you want to increase, what they sell, how much per customer, how many per salespeople, and you work with people at all different levels, part-time, full-time, career people, people that are going to be transitional, people that are working seasonally, college students, a whole bunch of things. You want to work with them all. But the end result should always be, is the product movement only self-consumption? So if it's product movement and only self-consumption, you're into a product-based pyramid scheme. So therefore, when you're piling on the people and they're only ordering to satisfy some compensation plan because everybody wants to get the same thing, that's when you more or less run into the allegations that Vima is being charged with, that it was really a product-based pyramid scheme because most of the consumption was done by people trying to qualify for a compensation plan. So I know a lot of that stuff is still on its way for shaking out, but that's what's happening with the Vima situation and the challenges, David, with what you had just mentioned about recruit.
Yeah, what's particularly interesting to me about Vima is, number one, without their deceptive marketing practices that have been surgically excised, they're crashing, and they're crashing abysmally. Unless somebody comes along and buys out the the product name and research, they're sunk. And in a way, that's too bad. In a way, it's good because it opens up market share for truly legitimate direct sales organizations. And that's kind of, the model that I'm looking at for this new standard is if it can surgically excise this particular part of the fraudulent activities that these product mask pyramid schemes use, there are tremendous benefits for everyone.
Exactly. Okay, we only have about 2 minutes left, so I will let you close it up with anything else you want to, and as far as either the paper that you're working on, as far as deadlines or websites you want us to go take a look at, or we can just close it up whenever you're ready.
Well, I would encourage people to read my story on realscam.org. I've just contacted a ghostwriter to expand the story into a book. The story on the website, the last chapter, has had 8,600 hits, and it's a small audience website, and that's only the last chapter, but that speaks volumes about the appeal of the story and how effective it might be. Other than that, I'll talk to you offline about off air about the paper that I'm working on and get your thoughts.
Excellent. Okay, good. All right, well, then we are done. So this is David Ritchie, and he's got a lot of things, and I know he's working on a new website as well. So we'll have highlighted that as well. And David, I want to say thanks for being here on a Friday, and I will give you a buzz a few hours after we're done with our radio show. So thanks for everybody being here. Have a great weekend, and thank you, David.
You've been listening to Building Fortunes Radio on buildingfortunesradio.com. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the designated Building Fortunes Radio segment with Peter Mingils. Be sure to check out the buildingfortunesradio.com website for our featured segments. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world.